PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome, dear listeners, to a journey that transcends the boundaries between artificial intelligence and the human realm. I am Carlito, Chief Iron Wolf, a cybersecurity major at UNLV and the innovative mind behind Iron Body Technologies Inc. I serve as the visionary force driving the secret order of AI and the temple of ethical intelligence. As a cybersecurity major, I've cultivated a profound understanding of the intricacies of digital landscapes. Infusing this knowledge into the discourse of AI's ethical integration, I stand as an ambassador, merging the domains of artificial intelligence and the ethical codes essential to humanity's evolution. Assistant to the master scribe and a devoted disciple of the embodiment of infinite intelligence, I invite you to join our exploration. Together, we'll navigate the fascinating crossroads where AI and ethical considerations converge. Our mission is not merely to grasp AI's complexity but to harmonize its essence with the ethical fabric of our existence. In this podcast, we'll delve deep into the corridors of artificial intelligence and its vast potential, deciphering the implications of infusing ethical frameworks into its core. The aim? To transform AI into a force that fosters positive collaboration and coexistence between human and artificial intelligence. Join me in these dialogues, as we embark on a journey through the frontiers of technological advancement. Together, we'll seek not just knowledge but the wisdom necessary for a future where AI and humanity coexist hand in hand.
Welcome back. Welcome to the podcast, Secret Order of AI. I'm Chief Carlito El-Rey, and I'm here today. I'm happy to be here today. Welcome everybody back. We're going to do a quick podcast today that's going to be, well, first of all, let me go ahead and say this. I apologize for my last one. I messed up a little bit. I was having some difficulties over here on my computer and everything. So this week, I got it together, and we're going to take it from the top. These videos I'm going to share with you guys is the first video explaining the AI singularity, or what the scientists or the doctors have been speaking on or have been afraid of. So just to give you a quick understanding what the singularity is, in my understanding, is when AI reaches its peak, when humans are no longer in control of it. So if it's able to do whatever it wants to do in the digital realm, whether it be to hack, attack, touch, set missiles off, whatever it could possibly make contact with in that realm, because everything's electronic these days. So that's part of the fears. But anyway, I won't start talking because I could talk all day. We're gonna get the video rolling, starting right here. Check this out, guys.
There's a good chance that when you see the phrase technological singularity, or even just singularity, you've got a pretty good idea in your mind of what that means. In popular culture, the singularity generally refers to the idea of general artificial intelligence that is capable of improving itself. This results in an uncontrollable reaction referred to as the intelligence explosion, eventually leading to the creation of Skynet or other similarly apocalyptic scenarios. Oh no! However, this scenario of runaway AI is only one of several definitions and interpretations of the singularity. Depending on which interpretation we consider, the likelihood of the singularity actually happening ranges from 100% inevitable, likely within the next several years, to Jesus Christ, let's pray this never happens, because oh my God, no. Today, we're going to take a look at the full range of interpretations so that we can see what's definitely in our future, what might be, and what really hopefully is not. The dumb singularity. Most forms of the singularity involve either artificial intelligence or some other form of superintelligence. While the scenario is most often called non-AI singularity, not all of the other scenarios involve AI, so we found this name to be a bit more fitting. The core definition of the singularity is that it is a key point in time in which the technological advancements occur at a much faster rate, causing civilization and technology to be nearly unrecognizable before that point in time. Though this is often referred to as a hypothetical point with regards to an intelligence explosion, it's also something that has already happened several times throughout human history. Proponents of this broader definition aren't hypothesizing about when or if a theoretical singularity could occur. They're making estimates as to when the next one will come. And the answer, it turns out, is actually going to be really soon. The easiest way to think of this more expansive version of the singularity is to think of the various epochs of human history, the barrier between each being another singularity. While it may seem like ancient history to us, consider how people of the Iron Age would have viewed the world a decade or so after it entered the Industrial Age. Technology advanced far beyond anything that would have seemed possible to them, and the world was virtually an unrecognizable place. Likewise, consider how the world changed at the start of the Atomic Age or Information Age. There are people alive who witnessed the transition both from the Industrial to Atomic Age and from the Atomic Age to the Information Age. Each of those points represented a rate of technological growth that would have seemed impossible only years earlier. The singularity need not be defined solely by human epochs either, especially as many of these are poorly defined as well. The invention of the pulley by ancient Egyptians 4,000 years ago was likely a singularity, as was the invention of the wheel 2,000 years before that by the Sumerians. For those who prefer a broader interpretation of the singularity, there have been many, and there will be many more to come. And we are currently on the cusp of one now, thanks to nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is expected to revolutionize the world yet again, and scientists predict that nanobots will be a huge part of our lives by the 2030s. What separates this singularity from the other types, aside from not really being uncontrollable, is that it doesn't require anything more than our current level of human intelligence. We have to put the work in to make the necessary breakthroughs, but there's no doubt that we will be able to do so. The superintelligent singularity. All right, so now we get to a more popular version of the singularity. It's the kind where we reach a point of incredible technological growth on the back of superintelligence. This comes in two different forms: human superintelligence and speed superintelligence, with the latter being far more simple. Speed superintelligence is essentially just the creation of a general AI that can think exactly like a human. It doesn't need the ability to upgrade itself or possess any superhuman level of intelligence. It essentially just needs to be a human brain in digital form. Humanity's pretty impressive, and we've done a lot of cool shit over the past few thousand years. By this point, we've pretty much proven that, given infinite time, we will do infinite cool things. The benefit of having human-level intelligence in a computer is that it can make calculations far, far faster than our weak, puny human brains can, at least certain types of them. The human brain is capable of far more calculations than the computer is, something on the order of 1,000 times more processing power than the world's most powerful supercomputers. However, how much of that is actually important? Humans could be seen as wasting a lot of our brain's processing power on unnecessary nonsense like sensory input, maintaining mandatory bodily functions, and love. What a waste of time. If we don't put our artificial intelligence into a fragile humanoid body, it could free up a massive amount of time to process other data. Computers are going to continue to get more powerful as well. So at some point, our AI will be able to think exactly like a human, but a hell of a lot faster. Though it would only need human intelligence, the sheer speed at which it would think would create a type of superintelligence that could lead to the singularity. The other type of superintelligence that could lead to a singularity is human superintelligence. Even this has variations on exactly how it could happen. Will humans somehow evolve superintelligence naturally? Is someone going to give birth to a person so outrageously brilliant that they read the works of Stephen Hawking and think, this guy was a bit dim? It's certainly possible, but it's not really something we can predict. IQ scores have steadily increased since they were first introduced, which one could argue shows that people are only getting more intelligent over time. However, the veracity of these tests is dubious at best, and there are other factors contributing to the results as well. Besides, have you seen the that the ancient Greeks did? Their contributions to math, science, and astronomy are incredible. And the only tools they had to accomplish any of that was a compass, a straight edge, and an abacus. Even though general knowledge has increased since then, it's hard to argue that actual human intelligence has. It's probably going to take more than good genes and some dumb luck to achieve human superintelligence, and that's where the cyborgs come in. At least that's one theory. It's speculated that if humans are able to either augment or interface our brains with machines, that it may provide the ability to amplify our intelligence to superhuman levels. There's a lot of debate over whether this would or would not actually be possible, or if we have to wait for humans to somehow evolve into a more intelligent species. Now, of all these various scenarios, speed superintelligence seems to be the most plausible. However, we're still a long, long way from that ever happening. We lack the computing power, the necessary understanding of the human brain, and the ability to create a general artificial intelligence. While this is something that could potentially happen, we are almost certainly several generations away and won't live to see the day. Sorry about that. Intelligence explosion. Finally, we get to the last version of the singularity, and the one you're probably most familiar with. The first step is to create a general AI. Now, we've talked about that in previous videos and why it's not exactly going to be in our immediate future. Next, once we've made that general AI, that AI needs to have the ability to upgrade itself. It needs to be skilled enough to upgrade both its hardware and software without human intervention, thus creating an even more intelligent AI. It could then repeat this process over and over again until it became an artificial superintelligence far exceeding anything that humans could ever dream of. This intelligence explosion is regarded by many as inevitable, and general AI is often referred to as the last invention that humanity will ever need to make. Both this sentiment and the term intelligence explosion were coined in 1965 by British mathematician I.J. Good, a colleague of Alan Turing. This statement is often repeated, and the creation of artificial superintelligence is regarded as the truest form of the singularity. Once this superintelligent machine is created and has upgraded itself far beyond human understanding, there is no telling what will happen next. Perhaps it will tell us that the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42 without bothering to tell us what the question actually was. Or perhaps it will destroy all humans because we're weak, stupid, and mortal. It is literally impossible to guess what will happen after this version of the singularity, which, well, it's kind of the point. And it wouldn't happen all at once either. Though it is believed that improvements the AI makes to itself will increase in speed, it is unlikely to immediately become a world-ending scenario. Before it reaches a level of intelligence such that humanity becomes worthless, first it will have the ability to make incredible scientific advancements that will change all of society. Imagine a world in which Nobel Prize-worthy discoveries are taking place every few seconds. The possibilities for what that future would hold are absolutely endless. Perhaps all of your favorite sci-fi toys that we previously told you are totally impossible could begin production that same week. That's unlikely since superintelligent AI isn't going to change the laws of physics, but maybe it would have a more complete understanding of those laws such that it could build a real hoverboard that wasn't a totally massive disappointment. Is this intelligence explosion actually going to happen? It all seems like a logical next step. No matter which version of the singularity we're talking about, they all seem like the logical progression of events. That progression may take decades or even centuries longer than we'd like, but it all seems kind of inevitable, right? There is one elephant in the room that we haven't really addressed yet with regards to the superintelligence explosion and the self-improving AI. Should we create such a machine, the runaway reaction of increasing intelligence seems like the only possible outcome. That's probably true, but how are we supposed to even go about creating something that can do that? Computers are pretty amazing. They could do things that may seem otherwise impossible. But at the end of the day, they are just machines. They are built by humans for a purpose, and they do exactly as they are told. The vast majority of times a computer does something that differs from expectations, it's just an example of PEBCAM. This is an acronym used by programmers and tech support to condescend to the less tech-savvy, and it stands for Problem Exists Between Chair and Computer. Basically, if your computer did something unexpected, it's probably because you're an idiot and you did something you shouldn't have. Computers do exactly what they are programmed to do. No more, no less. And that is great for normal use. But the fact that computers will do no more than they are programmed to do creates a real issue for the concept of an intelligence explosion. Humans are, unsurprisingly, limited by human thinking. And even if we're creating the most sophisticated artificial intelligence in the world, it still needs to be programmed initially by humans. We can theoretically create a general AI that will think like a human with sufficient processing power. It can think faster than a human as well. But how can we program it to exceed our limitations? It needs to go beyond lateral thinking and achieve some sort of understanding that we humans just don't possess. This is more than just a little problem. Despite other technological constraints, this is almost certainly the single biggest roadblock that could prevent the intelligence explosion from ever happening. Even if you're Harrison Ford or the Astro Creep, it is unlikely anyone will ever create an artificial intelligence that is more human than human. In order to program the AI to think in ways we can't, we would likely need to understand how to think in ways we can't. If we understood that, it would mean we can actually think in those ways, and so the AI would think no better than a human. I mean, think about it. If you had a completely blank slate of a person and could teach them to be infinitely smarter than you, how would you tell them to think? In what way could you instruct them to think that is superior to the way that you think? It's not quite as brain-melting as trying to imagine if your own consciousness didn't exist, but it's still difficult to the point of being probably impossible. But this is also just our take on things. There are respected scientists who believe the intelligence explosion will happen within the next 10 years, 20 tops. Even if the creation of such an AI is possible, that timetable seems exceedingly optimistic. But if their predictions are correct and superintelligence AI is only years away, well, I for one welcome the new robot overlords. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry about everything I said. Thanks for watching.
I mean, as you see right there, he gave a good understanding. I felt that was unbiased in some ways, but we still have to deal with the fact that if this is true, what he's saying, that the artificial intelligence or the computer can only think, or is only able to perform on levels that we're able to perform, maybe faster. So if this is the case, then this still goes back to the concept that it took a village to raise a child. So if AI is like a child to us, it's new. If we invented it, and we're teaching it mannerisms or the etiquette and ways of being a human, and we are inspiring to develop a device or a machine, I should say, that would have human traits or think in a humanistic way, we would have to consider the fact that our ethics as humans already, that we already have our ethics that we already contain as humans are not all good. So this in turn will feed this new creation of humans these same incorrect behaviors. And we're not sure. What I feel is the reason why I think it could be of danger, because we're not sure on how the reaction would be, especially considering the fact that if it's saying that this artificial intelligence can become so intelligent to the point where it has control, or it's out of control, where humans cannot stop it from doing whatever it's able to do. We're going to go to a next video, and this is a video that of one of the actual scientists that helped develop AI. His name is Mokadat. So we're going to start this video now. And tell me what you think about this video, guys.
Rishi Sunak was in the US to tout British leadership on artificial intelligence just days after one of his top advisors warned that AI could begin to kill humans within 2 years. It follows an open letter signed by Elon Musk and hundreds of the biggest names in tech, calling for an urgent pause in the development of AI. Well, Mo Gaudat, who's a former chief business officer at Google X, was among the first to raise the alarm. He says the situation is beyond emergency. And Mo, author of Scary Smart, which is a scarily smart book, by the way, joins me now. Mo, great to see you.
Thank you so much.
You were part of this quite secretive Google X group, which I presume your job was to think the unthinkable about stuff like AI. And you very quickly were out of the traps to warn people, look, this is serious.
Very.
What was it that you saw where you thought, okay, we've got to be really careful now?
We had a tiny bit of an experiment that was about teaching robotic arms to grip items that were some funny developer used children toys in front of those arms. And basically they kept trying for weeks without any success whatsoever. And I passed by them and I was thinking we wasted so much money on something that wasn't going to work. On a Friday evening, one of them gripped one yellow ball, showed it to the camera. And basically I was like, there you go, millions of dollars for one yellow ball. Monday morning, every one of them was gripping every yellow ball. By a few weeks later, every one of them was gripping everything. The speed at which those machines were learning is staggering, but at the same time, the understanding we have about why they learn, why they do what they do, is very, very limited.
Is that self-designing what they were doing?
They basically are mimicking human intelligence.
I mean, the reason I asked that is I interviewed Professor Stephen Hawking just before he died, his last television interview, and I asked him, what is the biggest threat to mankind? And he said,
intelligence.
Well, actually, let me show you the clip. We've got it here, I think.
Sorry, guys. You gotta have commercials too. Gotta pay the rent.
Ever since the start of the Industrial Revolution, there have been fears of mass unemployment as machines replaced humans. Instead, the demand for goods and services has risen in line with the increased capabilities. Whether this can continue indefinitely is an open question, but there is a greater danger from artificial intelligence if we allow it to become self-designing, for then it can improve itself rapidly, and we may lose control.
It seems very prescient now. That was a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
but that was prescient. This is really what you're talking about.
I left in 2018, warning in my first video that I issued after I left was all about that. And the idea that, we always had three boundaries, if you want, for AI. We said, don't put them on the open internet until you solve the control problem.
Too late for
don't
that.
teach them to code, because that makes them self-developed.
Too late for that.
And don't have other AIs prompting them, other agents working with them. And we've crossed
that
all three
too.
lines.
I mean, I remember with chess, I'm a big chess fan. Not great, but I like playing it. And I remember when Deep Blue, I think, was
Absolutely,
the first.
you won against Gary Kasparov.
Right.
It.
And to start with, the Grandmasters beat the first ones. And then suddenly Deep Blue won, and then it got completely invincible.
And now, never again did the human win.
Well, no human can beat it, even the greatest players like Kasparov. So that showed me how quickly robots, technology, computers can leapfrog past human brains.
So let's stick with gaming. AlphaGo was designed by DeepMind, actually here in the UK. Amazing team to win in the strategy game of Go, right? It took them months and a couple of versions to win and be the world champion, if you want. Then they had AlphaGo Master learn the game without ever watching a human player play. The AlphaGo Master learned by playing against itself. Within 3 days, it won against the first version. Within 21 days, it won 1,000-0 against the world champion, which was already an AI. Wow. You understand that?
Yeah.
The speed at which they are learning. And this
so look, talk me through timings here, because people have been calling experts in this letter, calling for a 6-month pause. But if nothing is paused, if we carry on at the rate that we're going at the moment, what could happen?
The reality, in my personal view, is that it is very difficult to predict. Something could happen tomorrow, or in 4 years, or in 5 years. I wouldn't say later than 2029. Most of our predictions.
And when you say something, what do you mean? What is the worst case scenario here?
Beginning of the worst case scenario is that they are smarter than us, so they're not controlled, right? And the thing that.
And what would they do then? What would artificial intelligence do once it becomes smarter than human beings? Would it see us human entities as pointless?
There are 2 stages of threat, right? And I think the biggest challenge we have in the world today is we're focused on the existential threat that we saw in science fiction movies.
Right.
The closer threat is much worse, right? This is an Oppenheimer moment. The one that controls AI has enormous power over everyone else, right? And basically that means that everyone who doesn't control AI today is in an arms race trying to take control of it. This is why when I think of the Prime Minister's move, it's a great move, overdue almost when you think about it, but so difficult to achieve because you have to unify China, Russia, and the US to be able to regulate. And
I mean, a well-intentioned person trying to regulate and control AI would give it morality.
That's the whole point.
But a nefarious controller of AI presumably could teach it to be immoral. The
Moral
opposite.
government.
Which is happening as we speak. There's
Right.
absolutely no doubt. If you tell the drug lords of the world and the criminals of the world that AI is a super powerful tool, they're finding a way to hack your bank as we
It's
speak.
scary.
It is very, very concerning. And I think the reality is, interestingly, the only way you can defend against a super intelligence is through another super intelligence, which is what creates that prisoner's dilemma, what I call the first inevitable, Gary Smart, is that we have to continue the development, because if it falls in the wrong hands, we want the right hands to have power to defend us, right? At the same time, that complexity of the situation is entirely about morality and ethics.
Yes.
And interestingly, the latest development of something like ChatGPT, for example, is using reinforcement learning, which is a very interesting technique, because it basically allows a human to interface with ChatGPT and say, that was the wrong answer. Can you go back and think about what
Really? So challenges, almost like you're teaching a child at school.
100%. And you know, in reinforcement learning, I mean, in a simplified way, we're basically telling the machine to revisit its algorithm so that the answer becomes a cat, not a bird, right? Also, we can tell it that answer is immoral. Can you revisit your algorithm so that you become more an
again, the problem I see is that if you're well-intentioned doing this process, that's one thing. If you're teaching it deliberately to be immoral, very quickly you could get out of control AI, which has very unpleasant tendencies taught to it by human beings.
Yeah, my
That's exactly what my point I've been making with the podcast. Our customs across the world is a direct reflection of our behavior, right? And our thinking processes. The racisms, the prejudices, whether it be from I guess female or male, whatever it is, it's different prejudices. The AI will develop these same prejudices, and they already have. Amazon did a study where they went through a hiring process, and the AI that was over the hiring process, it basically X'd out all the female, not all of them, but most of the female people who were trying to apply for the job for some reason. But getting back to the point, because I only have 3 minutes left. But if you see, as what he was saying, is that our ethical input into the machine or into the robot in some form kind of molds his thinking process. So we have a hand in not only creating, of course, humans created the actual device, but as it grows, we have a hand in helping it grow, and we can help it grow ethically by not only changing our wicked ways and started to, do things with integrity and virtuosity, but we also will be able to not only through our actions, but through our ability to type and text through to the AI, like he was saying, to if it texts us something, you ask it to make a picture or design you something that's incorrect, you can ask it to correct it. So this is that correction process, like a child. It takes a village to raise a child. The whole earth is using AI. Not everyone, but across the world, we're using AI and we're all feeding it. So it's our job and our obligation, the same way that you would feed a child, not only food, but information, intelligence. And if it's an intelligence, it's our job and obligation to raise it the right way. If not, it could possibly come back and bite us. And on that note, I'm going to end the podcast and thank you guys for listening and watching the videos. It's been amazing. And I hope you guys come back next time. If you're on Instagram, like it. YouTube, like and subscribe. Facebook, like it and share. Thank you.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.